let's talk about Ben Shapiro for a little bit in the industry. I met him only one time, but it was nice to meet him. It was cool. Like, obviously, he's a nice guy. Like, he wasn't going to be a jerk to me. Right here. So, yeah. Your hair is utterly disgusting. And right now or here? Because here, yeah, it does look kind of gross. Right now, I don't know, man. I think my hair is looking pretty fresh, but okay, maybe you're jealous because you're ugly or something, but all right. But anywho, yeah, I met Ben Shapiro. Nice guy behind the scenes. He's not obviously he's not going to be a jerk, but he is a joke. Ben Shapiro faces backlash for comparing long lines at polls to Disneyland.
Jim Crow explicitly created a separate system of law for Black Americans and treated them as inferior. There's nothing in the law like that. That's not only an overstatement.
So apparently, a Democrat compared Georgia's recent voting law to Jim Crow. Was that actually? I think Biden did that. Biden calls Georgia law Jim Crow in the 21st century and says the Justice Department is taking a look. This sounds really hyperbolic. I saw a lot of stuff going around about this bill. When I looked into it, it's not great. It's definitely going to bring changes that I think are kind of dumb and unnecessary. But to go as far as to claim it's Jim Crow in the 21st century, that sounds like a really hyperbolic and emotionally charged statement. So there's just some things that are, I think, kind of dumb. Like the absentee ballot request period is shorter, starting 11 weeks before the elections and ending 11 days before. Runoff elections are shortened to 4 weeks instead of 9. Okay, some of these I don't think are that. Tightens requirements for county election supervisors, such as requiring them to have absentee ballots counted by 5 p.m. the day after elections. Okay, I mean, some of this isn't really that bad. Passing out, this is one I heard a lot about. Passing out food and drinks to voters is also criminalized, and partisan poll watchers will have to undergo training. Poll workers can pass out water to voters. So I think some of this is dumb. Yeah. And I definitely think it's it could absolutely hurt voter turnout. I don't know. I think it's dumb. I think it's unnecessary. And I do think that this is just a weird Republican ploy. But I think that going as far as to call this Jim Crow in the 21st century, that's really inflammatory. The bill, stupid, dumb, criticize it for just being unnecessary. Why would you go to this length to criminalize passing out food and drinks to voters? So Ben Shapiro, he's kind of mad about that statement, which, fair enough.
It's just an out.
Credit where it's due. That is a dumb statement for Biden to make. So, okay. So far, Ben Shapiro, we're agreeing with you.
System of law for Black Americans and treated them as inferior. There's nothing in the law like that. That's not only an overstatement, it's just an outright lie. But, says Jamel Hill,
I agree with that. Truthfully, I do.
The law imposes new voter identification requirements for absentee ballots. Well, clearly that's racist. I mean, you mean you have to show that you are who you say you are when you vote absentee? If you can explain to me how that's racist, I'm willing to hear it. Anyone? Bueller?
Yes. Hi. Actually, you know what? People even say I look like Bueller. A lot of the times, conservatives will take statements like this, right? Like voter ID, and they'll kind of shorten it to the point of almost absurdity, strip it of any nuance, and then treat you like you're an idiot for being against it, right? And it works. It does. It worked on me for quite a while. When I was still right-wing, it worked on me. Because it's like, you think about it, you're like, how is it fucking racist to say that, just let me see an ID? Black people disproportionately don't have U.S. government-issued photo IDs. So a lot of the times what it comes down to is not that it's racist to ask for an ID or something, but that when you say you must include this ID, it's going to disproportionately hurt black people. Whether your intention is to hurt black people or not, your intention might be completely good, and voter integrity is important. 100%. Your intention might be completely good, but these policies tend to disproportionately hurt minority groups. A good example is this right here. By the way, this comes from Brennan Center of Justice. Likewise, Texas permits voters to use a handgun license to vote, but not a student ID from a state university. More than 80% of handgun licenses issued to Texans in 2018 went to white Texans, while more than half of the students in the University of Texas system are racial or ethnic minorities. I hope that answered your question, Ben.
Even before the legislation passed, many voters of color in Georgia faced hours-long queues at the polls. By the way, voter suppression doesn't involve long lines, any more than long lines at Disneyland are ride suppression.
Long lines could absolutely be a form of voter suppression. Maybe not intentionally. It could deter people from voting. So yes, it could be a form of suppressing votes. This comparison, any more than than long lines at Disneyland, is ride suppression. You realize, Ben, that riding a ride in Disneyland is not a fundamental American right. It's not a constitutional right. It's not a pillar of our American democracy. When I was really right-wing, I loved Ben Shapiro, and I still try to think of Ben Shapiro as someone who's like more good faith and more genuine, much more so than like someone like Steven Crowder or something. And then he says stuff like this, and he's just so dumb. And then I don't know how I thought he was at one point so smart. Long lines could be an indication that the state wasn't properly prepared for the amount of voters that were going to show up. Maybe something went wrong with the machines. Maybe they don't have enough machines. Maybe they don't have enough staff. So there are multiple areas where things could be improved that could help it so that there aren't these incredibly long lines. There's more than 10-hour wait and long lines as early voting starts in Georgia. And I don't know, hey, maybe this is just me. Maybe I'm just like a weird peasant. I don't know about you, Shapiro. I know maybe you're just too elite, but us common people don't usually have that much time to wait in line to participate in our right as an American citizen. Some of us have kids and we can't afford to pay a nanny round the clock like you, buddy. Yeah, I feel like you could actually take his argument and kind of flip it on its head. How many times have you been at a fucking amusement park and you see a long ass line and that deters you from riding the ride? You see a long ass line and you're like, you know what? Fuck it, dude. I don't have all day. I'm not going to wait in line all day for one roller coaster. I feel like you could make that argument a lot stronger than, well, if you have to wait in a long line to buy your Gatorade, is that Gatorade suppression? I'm disappointed, to say the least.
You know what voter suppression is? Voter suppression is where you don't get to vote.
And what if you're waiting in a long line and then don't get to vote? Great job, Shapiro. Great big brain take. Wow. I'm wowed.